police to go check on anybody who says in hospital. That just cannot happen. And I would imagine that anybody applying their minds closely and carefully should realize that we would never do that as a commission. I mean, we have so many functionaries within this commission, so many.
Yes.
We have what? How many evidence leaders now? 9, 8, give or take, evidence leaders, some of them quite senior. We have chief investigator who's assisted by 4 or 5 other investigators. We have our commission secretary. We have the commission's spokesperson. I think I've mentioned all the senior functionaries. I hope I have. If we were ever minded to do any such thing, we have never done it before. There's correspondence between the attorneys on the other side, and the commission's attorneys indicate what they want to do, for example, which is what happened with another witness who has medical problems. There's that engagement. And even there are instances of hospitalization. The commission has never just pounced on that witness at hospital. It has never happened. So coming back to you, Mr. Khan, I find it very strange that on something so nebulous, you could have gone out to the media and said, you understand, I think that's the word you use, that there's a directive from the commission for people to go check on General Khan, to check on the various aspects that you itemized in that media interview. How you could do that on something so nebulous, it just escapes me altogether.
Chair, you would recall
sorry, General, maybe, sorry, Mr. Khan, maybe before you respond, let me add this to this conversation that you made. I think it's important that you clarify it in your response. In fact, in that part of the transcript, you said there has been some contact with the Madlanga Commission. Now, that's not true unless your attorney has been in touch on this topic, because I'm reading at page 8, right at the bottom. You say there has been some contact with the Madlanga Commission, and we understand that they have directed representatives to arrive. A reading of that, in fact, understanding, having followed that interview, it represented that you or your attorney or somebody has spoken to the Commission representatives, and they've understood, and from that, they understand that the Commission intends to send people to go and verify the truthfulness of what was reported in the media. And it is important that you clarify whether there was such a contact with the Commission.
My attorney asks to address this.
Yes, he may.
Yes, Mr. Valley.
Thank you, Chair, Madam Commissioner. Yes, indeed. On the morning, while we were trying to clarify the role of the SAPS members that we found at the hospital when we arrived, Ms. Wilsnach, the Commission's attorney, had contacted me telephonically on my mobile phone, and she had indicated that correspondence would be sent addressing the issue. And I think that's what
that's the correspondence. That's the correspondence Mr. Khan read from.
Correct.
All right. Please continue.
Thank you. So I can confirm that there was in fact correspondence, or at least a discussion, on the very issue of that morning's occurrences with Ms. Wilsnach and myself.
But the context was totally different. It had nothing to do with a directive by the Commission after General Khan had been shot. So to refer to that, yes, to refer to this contact with the Madlanga Commission on something that had happened in the morning, and which had nothing to do whatsoever with the visit to the hospital on the Commission's directive. It just doesn't make sense, because it's all part of the same sentence.
Yes.
It's all part of the same sentence.
We appreciate that, Mr. Chair, but Mr. Chair must also consider from our perspective, we are confronted with these competing versions of various members of SEPS, in essence assaulting us with their justifications to be there and to be made privy to information which is otherwise confidential. And things happened very quickly thereafter. So to the extent that there may have been an impression or a misrepresentation made, we apologize. We're not trying to impute anything that this commission may have done wrong.
No, you are. You are imputing a directive by this commission that people sent by the commission must go to the hospital with the purpose of establishing all of the things that Mr. Khan said to the interviewer, Mr. Zianda Ngobo of Newsroom Africa. You are imputing something, so please don't even begin to say you are not imputing anything. Please, please.
Chair, I'll leave it at that. I will not.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I will come to you, Ms. Hassim. Yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to clarify. You will see from what I say.
Yes. I had asked a question to which there has been no response. I said, how could you have said this based on the nebulous information that has been placed before us now? How could you have said this publicly for all of South Africa to hear based on this very nebulous information? How could you?
Thank you for the opportunity. Chair, you will recall that on the morning, the hospital was full of police from different units, as indicated to you. We are communicating with the family. We are attempting to get information from the doctors. I'm taking instruction from my attorney. And hence I say, we understand that they have been directed, that they have directed representatives. I don't say they have. That is simply the understanding that is conferred upon us. Now, I'm getting this information from multiple sources. The hospital manager, my attorney, the family members. When I was at reception myself waiting to gain entry and I was refused, there were policemen that arrived at reception wanting entry on behalf of the commission. So when I report this, that we understand that they have been directed by the Madlanga Commission, I'm certainly not saying at that point in time that the Madlanga Commission did this. We're saying we understand, and we're getting this information from people that are arriving there. And Chair, you will recall.
Just articulate this understanding again, because I just felt that it doesn't convey what I'm seeing here. Just articulate your understanding.
So when I say we understand that they directed representatives to arrive at the hospital, I am getting this information from my attorney, from the family who have been there all night, with repeated swathes of policemen getting there, trying to have themselves access the hospital wards. We interacted with the hospital manager in respect of security from the hospital side. And of course, I had my own observations at the reception area.
So once somebody says they come from the Madlanga Commission, you simply accept that and publicize it without any question, without even seeking to establish its authenticity. You just go out there publicly and you say something like this about the commission.
Chair, we understand criticism that is being leveled at us, but these were all qualified as speculative. We are informed, we are told. This isn't the first morning.
Yes, there was speculative, I think twice with regard to the first aspect I engaged you on. I do not see speculative here.
But I say we understand.
What difference does that make?
well, the person applying their mind evenly to this thing will certainly understand that this is not concrete information. It's our understanding that's been conveyed.
You see the meaning you want to convey would apply to this or make sense if this was what you had said. And we understand that there were people who claimed to be representatives of the commission. Because I understand you to be making the point that I've just made. That is not what you said.
I respect
that is definitely not what you said.
I respect and accept your correction of what I intended to say. Certainly, I intended to say exactly what you've said at this moment.
Unfortunately, you did not.
Unfortunately, I did not.
You conveyed something negative about the commission.
In the moment, on live TV, with my attorney next to me, with multiple interviewers, it is unfortunate. And if there is any misapprehension or ambiguity,
let me not accept that there is. Let me just say you stated something wrong about the commission. If you want to say misapprehension, it must come from you. But you stated something wrong about the commission. Yes.
Unreservedly, I apologize to the commission. I see that it is open to multiple interpretations, and I apologize unreservedly.
Thank you. Ms. Hassim, it was indicated to me whilst I was looking that way that you wanted to say something. Please.
Chair, in fact, at the point at which I was going to intervene, I was going to say that I don't need to be as restrained as the commissioners perhaps need to be in addressing this issue that the chair has raised. But then you went on. There are a couple of things that I must put on record from the perspective of the evidence leaders. This communication in the public with the media is of great concern to us, because it does bring the work of the Commission into disrepute. There can be no doubt about the impression that's created by these kind of remarks. Now, on this last point, on the first point, which is that the leak, the point of the leak, the answer, the prudent response would have been, I will not speculate, full stop.
I said I was going to come to the timing. I forgot, but let me leave it now. I think we've debated it, and Mr. Khan has tendered an unreserved apology, I think, in respect of both issues that I raised with you.
I confirm that.
Thank you. Please continue, Ms. Hassim.
Thank you, Chair. All I'm saying is that the answer, the appropriate answer, would have been, I will not speculate. Full stop. Nothing further. But instead, the comment went on to suggest a link between the filing of papers on the Commission and the terrible incident that followed. Or, in fact, it didn't follow, according to the timeline. And this is important. Why don't we know? Because there's been no formal communication by General Khan's legal representatives with this Commission until we specifically requested it. So on the 29th of June, the letter that my learned friend referred to says the following. It says, we note with concern, and it was sent in the morning, we note with concern the media reports that your client, Major General Khan, was shot last night. We are relieved to understand from those reports that Major General Khan survived the attack and is receiving medical care. We wish him a full and speedy recovery. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what we're trying to say is we're hearing this from the news. We're hearing this from media, from social media. It's not factual information on which we're entitled to simply rely without more, especially since we are engaged and have been engaged with General Khan's legal representatives for some time.
Actually, to add to that, as I said earlier, I don't have the page numbers. Mr. Khan says, I will not go to the question, but he says, we await an indication from the Madlanga Commission as to the way forward. So they themselves were choosing to remain supine, just folding their hands and doing nothing. That adds to the point that you are
Precisely,
making.
Chair. That was a point I was going to make, and I'll point to the part of the record that the Chair is referring to, because we cannot rely on media reports in order to understand how we are to move forward on something as, as serious as this. So this is the reason for this communication. One, to express our concern, and two, to get a response on the record, what exactly is happening. And so the letter went on to say that in the light of your client's scheduled appearance, this was 2 days before General Khan was due to appear. So the letter says, in light of his scheduled appearance, we request that you urgently inform the Commission of the facts. That's what's in the letter. Concerning the incident, the nature of the extent of his injuries, expected period of recovery. It went on to say, please provide a medical report from General Khan's attending physician to address these issues. Not because we doubt anything, but because the appropriate course of action by the legal representatives is to put the Commission in the know. That's why. And we said so. The final paragraph is just in the letter says this information is required so that the chair may consider the position and issue such directions as may be appropriate regarding General Khan's scheduled appearance. That was the reason for the request. So the legal representatives were in possession of this letter before my learned friend addressed the media. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as Mr. Valley has now said, Ms. Vilsnak had contacted him on the morning of the event to alert him to this correspondence. So he had the contact number of Ms. Vilsnak, the attorney for the Commission. Why did he not pick up the phone and seek to verify the claims of the people who were purporting to be representatives of the Madlanga Commission, who were there trying to get access to General Khan? That would have been the appropriate course of action. They didn't do that. Now, which leads me to say that the responses that we are now receiving to the questions that are posed by the chair regarding the content of this media briefing is a convenient, sort of after the fact, opportunistic response to the questions, because now being faced with it, there's a gloss that's being applied to these answers, because none of this would have happened if what I'm saying had taken place, which is contact the Commission directly. You had the contact number, and you didn't do so. So the last part of the communications in the media briefing is what the chair refers to, and that's so I'll give the chair the reference. Yes, it is on page 10. And it's just above line 10. It's line 7, where my learned friend says, well, of course, he was due to appear on Wednesday. We await an indication from the Madlanga Commission as to the way forward. So on what basis was the Madlanga Commission going to be able to provide a way forward? Because there had been no formal communication between the legal representatives and the Commission's representatives. So I just wanted to make that clear, Chair. And certainly from the side of the evidence leaders and the legal team, there were no such instructions regarding any visits or any sort of directives to check on the physical condition of General Khan. One last point I wish to make in regard to this media statement. It is concerning the delivery of the information, disclosure of evidence on the weekend. And it was repeated.
If you are raising that in relation to the in-camera application, that application is withdrawn, or unless you... Sorry.
Sorry, Chair. It's not just about the in-camera
All right,
application,
okay.
because
All right,
if it was
all right.
raised in relation only to the in-camera application,
Yes.
well, actually, I didn't even address it because I haven't responded to my
Yes,
but it's withdrawn.
Yes.
But this was made in the public. This was a media statement that seeks to convey an impression that there is unfair practices that are taking place in the Commission, by the legal team, by the evidence leaders whatsoever in relation to General Khan. And that is incorrect, and it can't be allowed to stand. It is true that there was a volume of material that was provided to General Khan on the weekend. That information was the same information. First of all, it was information that it included information that had been provided to General Khan at the time of the answering affidavit in the urgent application, which was around the end of the first week of June. One set of chats, which was the chat between General Khan and Mo Sayed. And then it included all of the information that had been provided on 15th June, what my learned friend complained about, these spreadsheets, the WhatsApp communications, these lengthy lines of communications in the spreadsheets. That was provided to my learned friend on the 15th of June. What was provided on the weekend was a more usable format of exactly the same information, an easier to read format of the information, and in fact, a truncated version of that information, because by then we had curtailed exactly what it is we wish to refer to when we were going to be questioning General Khan. So it was a subset of information that had been provided on the 15th of June. What was new was the financial information, and what was included there were financial disclosure forms that General Khan had provided to his employer over a period of several years, which we wished to question General Khan on, because when you look at that, together with his finances and his financial position, the two do not tally. So in order to alert the legal representatives that we would be doing that, we provided the financial disclosures and then the bank information, and there was a summarized version of the financial, of the bank account information. It was in a spreadsheet which said in globular terms, these are the companies in which you have a shareholding or in which you are director. This is the inflow and outflow of the finances in these companies, summarized in the spreadsheet. Of course, we provided the underlying documentation, the underlying data, so that if the legal representatives wanted to look at any particular line item and check the workings in the spreadsheet, they may do so. That's what it was. So the suggestion that they could not have provided a statement, and Chair, this is also an important point. We never received...
Before you move on to that point, just to confirm, at page 8, Mr. Khan said, so of recent days, we have had the Madlanga Commission on Friday deliver some 37,000 lines of WhatsApp material. And then he goes on to say, and yesterday, as late as yesterday, they delivered some 8,000 pages of further documentation. Is this correct or not, from what you're saying now?
I'm not sure what I think the 37,000 lines of WhatsApp material is what was provided on 15th of June. What was provided on the weekend was it wasn't lines of WhatsApp communication. It was the actual depiction of those WhatsApp chats as the commissioners are familiar with when we take witnesses through. So it looks like what you see on your phone. That's what was provided.
Did you provide 8,000 pages as at yesterday of the incident? Of this
the 8,000 pages would have included the WhatsApp communications, which ran to over 6,000 pages. That's true. But as I said, that body of evidence was a subset of what had already been provided. It's not new material, and in fact, it was in a more, as I say, usable format for General Khan's purposes. So it's not true that there was new information.
Thank you.
Just a minute, Ms. Hassim. Yes, Mr. Sim.
So, Chair, I mean, all of this was meant to you know, I presume, no, there's one more point in the media briefing that's important. And that is at page, it starts at the bottom of page 2. And it's around line 22. And this is where my learned friend says the following. He has been, and that's General Khan, actively participating and preparing himself to testify and fully cooperate with the Madlanga Commission. And he intended this Wednesday to fully lay bare involvement of senior members of the South African Police Service, as well as speaking to criminal syndicates and what appears to be interference designed to destabilize certain portions of our community. Now, Chair, we never received a statement that addresses any of these issues. Those issues, I presume, would have not been dependent on the information that we provided General Khan. This is what he says he intended to lay bare. And that statement could have been provided to the Commission at any time. In fact, it could have been provided to the Commission before a Regulation 10.6 notice was issued to General Khan. These particular topics, we have not ever received a statement from the Commission setting this out. So that was never in the Commission's possession at any time, let alone at the time that the in-camera application was made.
Is it not possible that a point might be made that his submissions could not have been expected to be piecemeal, and that he would have wanted to make one submission addressing everything?
I would want to hear that submission in full in order to respond to it, because even if that is so, there's no reason for why, and we can go through the 10.6 notice, I don't propose to do so. The information that was requested in the 10.6 notice was information that General Khan could have answered. It wasn't dependent on information, further information from us. So why I'm pointing out this paragraph is because it seems to suggest that it is this kind of information that General Khan was going to reveal to the Commission that put him at risk. But we never received a statement that sets out what I've just read out from this statement, Chair. So, Chair, those are the submissions I wished to make from the perspective of the evidence leaders on the media statement, because we took objection to the content of the statement.
But also, Ms. Hassim, if he didn't file this, as I recall, the 10.6 notice fixes a date by which a statement must be submitted.
Correct.
So that would have been the case here. And if he didn't file by that day, you couldn't claim that he was cooperating with the Commission.
In fact, he had not complied.
Yes.
And we then granted an extension.
Yes.
And then he did not comply. In fact, the last communication on when the statement was going to be delivered was along the lines of, we can't comply with your deadline. We will file it when we are ready, and it will be sometime. It will be before the 1st of July. And in fact, it never came.
Thank you.
Ms. Hassim, by the way,